Hey, I'm Craig, and today for the Surfboard Guide, we're going to check out the Toe by Campbell Designed surfboards. So you may have seen our initial thoughts on the Toe we put out about a month or two ago. Checked it out, had a couple surfs since then, had a lot more surfs in a whole variety of conditions. So the Toe is by Campbell Designed, and if you haven't heard of Campbell Designed, it's the father and son duo of Stu and Ryan Campbell from Queensland's Noosa on the east coast of Australia. So they've put together this really cool EXOFLEX technology, which is what I was really pretty keen to check out. So we touched on it a little bit in the initial thoughts, and I didn't know too much about it, so I thought I'd touch on it a little bit more. So EXOFLEX is what they call a mechanical spring. And I mentioned that in the previous initial thoughts, and I wasn't sure. And I was thinking like a coiled spring, and I'm like, where the hell is a coiled spring gonna go in a surfboard? But think of it more like a leaf spring. Probably the only technology that's familiar or similar to this would be the Spine Tech that's in a bunch of different like boards, but Almeric and Channel Islands use it quite a lot. So a leaf spring, they route out the deck and they put a leaf spring that sits like under this carbon in the deck of the board, and it runs the whole length of the top of the deck, and it's also in the bottom of the board. And in this, it runs just to between the fins, but some of them will run the whole way through, and they're doing a few different things with different models and different weights and stuff like that. So this is the Toe, which is kind of what I'd call a kind of performance shortboard, but probably for like lesser and like a whole range of kind of average conditions, which most people would surf. So the Toe that I've been surfing is a 5'11" by 19.5 by 2 7/16, and it's 30.5 litres. So looking over the Toe, yeah, it's got your performance kind of shortboard outline, pointy nose, rounded square tail. Probably the only interesting thing on the outline is it's got a pretty wide bum there. That square tail sits out pretty wide. It's got a pretty nice kind of hip that sits just in front of the fins. It's pretty gentle as it comes in, but stays quite wide. And what I also mentioned last time was quite interesting. It's got this really sharp kind of effective edge. So you see that on a lot of boards, it'll run to just in front of the fins till you get to that rolled, soft and more forgiving rail. But it actually stays nice and kind of sharp on the top. So when you got that rail edge in the water, it's going to release water quicker and be much, much faster. And then on the bottom, on the Toe, it's a pretty kind of complex bottom, but nothing too crazy. A single through the front, and then as it comes into a double through the fins, it actually has quite a high V. And when you look just in front of the fins here, and probably the length of the front fins, the V and the center of the board where you normally have a stringer is actually higher than the rail line. So it's quite a significant V that comes down to the rail, but both sides are concaved into a double concave, and then it flows through to a single concave off the back. So I've had the Toe, like I said, a couple of months now. We put out the initial thoughts when I had a few surfs. I've had a lot more surfs on it now. Surfed in a whole variety of conditions. Probably where it sits well is probably 2 foot. So I'm gonna say like, you know, knee to kind of waist high, through to overhead. It handles pretty well. A lot of EPS technologies are pretty good in small and average waves. But what was good about the Campbell Designed EXOFLEX technology was it went really, really well in small and average waves, but it actually kind of felt still really solid and sturdy and not too skatey when it got a little bit bigger. And one of the main things that actually I frothed out on, there's a few different things online about these boards right now. Stab have done a thing, and also Nick Carroll has done a really cool thing with Surfline. But this EXOFLEX technology, so obviously boards have flex and stringers have like a pretty kind of standard flex, which most people are used to. But when you get to EPS and different carbon technologies, you get lots of different flex patterns and they all feel kind of different. What felt really, really cool about the EXOFLEX, it actually felt like it accelerated through turns. So as you would turn and the board would flex, you felt like you'd almost come out of them quicker than you went in, which is absolutely amazing, which actually kind of frothed out on it. Also the outline of the Toe, with that kind of wide like tail holding a bit of volume to the back, I felt I surfed really well across flat and average sections. It kept lots of pace, it was really fast, and it was just super easy to surf. Actually, first surf I got on this board, it just felt like I'd ridden it 100 times. It was super easy to surf. Like, it was custom made for me. I was gonna say it felt like it was made for me. It was, but it felt like I'd surfed it 100 times and it went really, really well. In the toe, I've been lucky enough to check out the F8 Vapor Cores by Futures. So these, I think, are available in the US, but not quite yet available in Australia. They'll be out shortly. And they are, I think, the world's first hollow carbon fin. So they're a full carbon fin and they're hollowed on the inside. So there's air, they're light, they're super lively. And I believe they're a speed generating fin, but they felt absolutely epic in the toe. I got a chance to surf the AM2s, the Geordies, the John Johns, and the F8 Vapor Cores, and all of them felt really, really good. So with this board, it was a pretty kind of standard outline. Any fin would kind of work. These were a great fin to check out. They felt really lively and really fast, but if there's any fin that you're used to, it would feel absolutely perfect in this. Look, overall, I was frothing to check out the toe. I love checking out smaller and different shapers, and Stuey Campbell has been shaping for years. He spent a lot of time in building boats and boat technology, which is where he learned a lot to bring this EXOFLEX technology together, which we're seeing in this surfboard. And his son, Ryan Campbell, which is the other half of Campbell Designed, was an absolute ripper when he was younger and still surfs really, really well. But, you know, he used to surf against Josh Kerr, D'Souza and all those guys and used to beat them, and had a career as a young professional surfer, and is now the other half of this brand, and they're making some epic, epic surfboards. Look, overall, I was absolutely frothing to check out the toe, and hopefully get a chance to check out Campbell Designed surfboards, the EXOFLEX technology, and hopefully the toe, because I absolutely loved it. Thanks so much for watching.